Most people believe having one steady income means they are being responsible. One job, one paycheck, one clear plan. It feels clean. It feels organized. It feels safe. You know when money comes in. You know what you can spend. You know how to plan next month. From the outside, it looks like stability, like adulthood, like you're doing life the right way. But that sense of safety is thinner than it feels. Here's the problem people rarely slow down to notice. One income feels stable only when nothing changes. As long as the job stays, as long as hours stay the same, as long as health stays good, as long as the economy stays calm, as long as management keeps making the same decisions. The moment one of those things shifts, the entire system shakes. When all your money comes from one place, that place quietly controls your stress level, your choices, and your future. Let's simplify this. One income means one point of failure. If that income pauses, shrinks, or disappears, everything else reacts instantly. Rent, food, savings, plans, even confidence. Nothing buffers the impact. There is no delay, no cushion, no second lane. The risk is not obvious because the system works until it doesn't. People confuse consistency with security. Getting paid regularly feels secure, but security is about what happens when things go wrong, not when things are smooth. A bridge is not strong because cars cross it on sunny days. It's strong because it holds when weight increases and conditions change. One income rarely passes that test. Another layer people miss is how one income shapes behavior. When your survival depends on a single source, you protect it emotionally. You avoid conflict. You delay change. You ignore small warning signs. You stay quiet, even when something feels off, not because you're weak, but because the cost of disruption feels too high. One income doesn't just limit money, it limits choices. This is not about fear, it's about structure. A system with one support beam can look solid for years, but pressure builds quietly. Inflation rises, responsibilities grow, energy declines. The income stays mostly the same. Over time, the gap widens. The risk increases even if nothing dramatic happens. One income is not automatically wrong. It's common, it's normal. But normal doesn't mean safe, especially long term. When your entire financial life rests on one stream, you're more exposed than you realize. That exposure is invisible at first, calm on the surface, fragile underneath. That's the foundation we need to understand before going deeper. Let's go deeper into why one income feels safer than it really is. The reason is psychological, not financial. Our brains love simplicity. One paycheck is easy to track, easy to plan around, easy to explain. There is comfort in knowing exactly where money comes from. That clarity creates calm. But calm is not the same as protection. When you rely on one income, you're tying many risks together. Job risk, health risk, market risk, company risk, all bundled into a single outcome. If one piece slips, everything feels it at once. There is no separation, no isolation, no shock absorber. The system moves as one block, and blocks crack under pressure. Think about how life actually behaves. Costs rarely stay still. Rent goes up, food gets more expensive, transport costs rise, emergencies appear without warning. But most single incomes grow slowly if they grow at all. Raises are small, promotions are rare. Sometimes income stays flat for years while life quietly gets heavier. The risk isn't sudden collapse, it's slow squeeze. Another issue is timing. With one income, your time and money are locked together. You trade hours for pay. When energy drops, income is threatened. When time is needed elsewhere, income suffers. This creates a fragile balance. You're always managing today, not building buffers for tomorrow. Not because you don't want to, but because the structure doesn't allow it easily. There's also an illusion of control. Many people feel loyal to their job because it feels mutual. You show up, you perform, you get paid. It feels fair, but income sources don't have emotions. Companies adjust, markets shift, roles change. Decisions are made far above your view. One income makes those decisions personal, even when they're not. What makes this risky is not job loss alone.
It's dependency. When one income pays for everything, it becomes untouchable. You hesitate to experiment. You delay learning new skills. You postpone side efforts. You tell yourself later. Over time, later becomes never. The income stays the same. The risk quietly grows. Security is not about how predictable money feels today. It's about how many ways money can still arrive if one path slows. One income offers predictability, not resilience. And resilience is what actually matters over years, not months. This doesn't mean panic. It means awareness, understanding that comfort can hide exposure, and that exposure increases when ignored. Once you see this clearly, the idea of stability starts to shape.
Now, let's get practical. Not dramatic, just realistic. This is where most people either freeze or overcomplicate things, so we won't do that. We'll keep it slow and grounded. When someone hears multiple incomes, they imagine chaos, extra jobs, no sleep, constant hustle. That image stops people before they start. But that's not what actually works. The goal isn't to work more. The goal is to reduce dependence on one fragile line. Start by looking at where your time already goes. Not in theory, in reality. There are small gaps in the day, small unused energy pockets. Not enough for a second job, but enough for skill building, enough for learning, enough for setup. That's where resilience begins, quietly. A second income doesn't have to pay bills at first. That's important. If you expect it to replace your main income quickly, you'll quit early. Pressure kills consistency. Instead, think of it as a support beam, weak at first, but useful over time. Its job is not speed, it's direction. This could be a skill that compounds: writing, editing, design, analysis, teaching, anything that can exist outside your employer. Something portable, something that doesn't vanish if one company disappears. You're not chasing passion, you're building optionality. Now comes the reality check. Progress will feel slow, almost insulting. The first weeks look like nothing. The first months feel boring. No applause, no visible change. This is where most people stop. They assume slow means wrong. It doesn't. Slow means new. You'll also feel tired, not burnt out, just mentally stretched, because learning alongside work requires attention, not motivation. Attention. Some nights you won't feel like doing it. Do it anyway, lightly. Even 15 minutes counts. Consistency beats intensity here. Another reality. The first income won't disappear immediately, and that's good. The point is overlap. One income supporting the build of another. This overlap creates breathing room. It removes desperation. It lets you think long-term instead of survival mode. Over time, something shifts. The second income may still be small, but mentally, you're different. You're less afraid. You're less trapped. You know that if one line weakens, another exists. That knowledge alone reduces risk. This is not about becoming rich. It's about becoming harder to break. One income is fragile because it's alone. Two incomes, even uneven ones, change the equation completely. Let's zoom out now. This is where the real shift happens. Not in numbers, not in income charts, but in how you see stability itself. Most people think stability comes from holding on tighter, saving harder, playing safer, staying put. But real-world stability doesn't come from stillness. It comes from motion, slow motion, controlled motion, movement that compounds quietly. When you rely on one income, your entire future depends on one system behaving forever. That system includes markets you don't control, managers you didn't choose, policies that can change overnight. Even if your job feels safe today, the structure behind it is fragile. Not evil, just fragile. Reframing matters here. A second income is not rebellion. It's insurance. It's not disloyal. It's logical, just like diversifying savings instead of holding cash in one place. The same thinking applies to earning. Risk isn't trying something new. Risk is refusing to prepare. Now look at the contrast. On one side is the person who doubles down on one income. They work harder, save more, stress more. Every unexpected expense feels personal. Every rumor at work feels threatening. Their effort increases, but so does their anxiety. On the other side is someone who earns from two or more places. Not equal, not impressive, just separate. Their job still matters, but it doesn't define them completely. If something breaks, they adjust, not panic. That's real stability. This person doesn't quit their job dramatically. They don't announce anything.
They quietly build systems, skills that can be sold, work that can be repeated, income that doesn't need permission. Over time, these systems run with less effort, not zero effort, less. The biggest win isn't money, it's posture. You stand differently when you're not cornered. You negotiate differently. You think longer term. You stop making fear-based decisions. That's what optionality gives you. So here's the consolidation. One income feels simple, but simplicity can hide risk. Multiple incomes feel complex, but they spread pressure. They absorb shocks. They give you room to breathe. This isn't a call to hustle. It's a call to prepare. Slowly, calmly, honestly. If this made you pause, that's good. Sit with it. You don't need to act today. Just notice where your money comes from and what would happen if it stopped. If you want more calm, grounded breakdowns like this, stay here. Subscribe. Not for hype, for clarity.